Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your brothers here, Najib wa Uthman, back with another reflection here on Deen Love. And our main goal is to create some type of content that's beneficial to all of our lives and to create Deen Love and near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's this statement that became like a movement, which is quote unquote, don't judge me. You know, you go up to somebody, you want to advise them, maybe talk to them about something here and there, and they hit you on defense.
Right.
Don't judge me, bro.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah sallallahu ala wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala amma ba'd. I think this statement that's become a norm in our society, you know, because we have to remember this is a non-Muslim country we're living in, with a non-Muslim, you know, majority culture that is around us, and we're the Muslims inside. So there's many different angles that you could look at this sort of common phrase that's tossed around. One, I think that one reason that people use this is a defense mechanism, right?
Just on defense.
Yes, right. So don't judge me, right? So automatically, it gives the person who is talking to them the impression that they are the hakim, and we know the hakim is Allah, right? So the person all of a sudden he becomes like guilty. Feels guilty for saying anything. Nasiha. Now, granted, sometimes people do come off in a judgmental way, but I think that this term has been used and abused today, right? To the point where I call it, in other words, it's like a sin-free card, right? You know.
Oh, I like that. A sin-free card.
A sin-free card.
A getaway.
Right. So we know there's like a get-out-of-jail-free card. There's a sin-free card, and this statements like these, right, to put pressure on anybody who thinks twice about commanding the good and forbidding the evil, right? And we know this is a part of our deen, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in various places, you are the best place, you are the best nation. We are the best nation, right? Allah says that to us. Says you guys are the best nation. Why? Why? Because you command the good and you forbid the evil. وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ, and Allah, he tops that off, the cherry on the top. And you believe in Allah. So all of those other requirements or all of those other qualities are followed by the belief in Allah. So us believing Allah, it prescribes for us to be enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, and of course in the best way possible. And Allah.
Yeah, what I noticed is that some people, besides the defense, they have no other evidence to support what they're doing. You know what I mean? So by default, the minute they start to feel guilty, they use that card. Now, we're not encouraging anybody, you know what I mean?
Right.
One, the statement itself, we have to judge you. We have to judge you. Life is based on judgment. I go into a situation, I judge it, I'm like, is it good for me? Then I go into, you know what I mean? That's the intelligence that Allah has given us. You judge your life, your surrounding, your family, your friends, according to, hey, who will benefit me and who will not? Or if you have a special interest in something, you have to judge it.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like a criteria for you to do something.
Yep.
So when you know what I mean? I probably, I'm a teacher, right?
Okay.
People judge me on a daily basis. The minute I walk in the building, if I was wearing like a V-neck shirt and shorts above my knees, they wouldn't let me walk in the building.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because that's not the standard for the people that I interact with. They'll be like, oh my God, what happened to Mu'allim Najib?
Yes.
What, is he okay? They will probably, come on, it's okay. Today, just take the day off. That's because, I left out of the norm of the environment that I'm at.
Absolutely.
Right? If I'm at the park and I'm wearing shorts and a V-neck shirt, that's a welcome.
Yeah.
Right? If I go to the park with a qameez and an imamah and and a kofi, guys would be like, bro, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, definitely. Give
So-
you second twice. I think, you know, like Brother Najib mentioned, mashallah, tabarakallah ta'ala, the whole thing about assessing one's character, there is a criteria, there is a dress code at school of things that you cannot wear, right? There is a dress code at work for the things that you can and cannot wear. So there is a criteria for you to follow in the workspace, in the learning facilities and schools, right? Likewise, there is also a criteria and there are conditions that we have to meet as Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He laid and He established those conditions upon us, right? Why? To get to the ultimate location, if you will, the ultimate reward, the ultimate station, right, of our existence, which is the hereafter, right, the eternal life in Jannah. So for us to attain that, one of the things that we must do is we must assess and analyze our characters and our brothers and sisters' characters, and we must advise them in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He mentions in the Quran those ayat about da'wah, right? He says, use good words, right? And beautiful character, akhlaq. And whose better character is it for us to take example of other than the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, right? So everything we do goes back to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And when we look at the way he lived his life, we see that he was correcting people. He was correcting his companions.
Of course.
Not once did they say, you're judging us. Stop judging us. Why are you judging us? Ya Rasulullah, you're judging us. Okay? Even after the passing away of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, you find the companions correcting each other, even in hadith. The whole bab, the chapter of hadith, of criticizing, jarh wa ta'deed. This is criticizing what people may today look as judging, right? And you have to do that. Why? So you can. They had to do that to preserve the Deen. Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, all these imams, they had to do that to preserve the ilm and what has been conveyed to us by the Prophet ﷺ.
Their greatest tool was to judge. They wouldn't take a hadith from somebody who their judgment,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't right. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? You know, some people, they're not fair. Some people, akhi, wallahi, they're not fair. They use the judgment card only in Deen. Everything else is permissible. When they go to an interview,
Absolutely.
they judge themselves before they go there, right?
Right.
And then, if they get critiqued in an interview, they don't say, hey, don't judge me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? How I dress, how I look, how I talk, how I act. It's just who I am. I hope I don't get this job just because of who I am.
Exactly,
You're not going to
right?
make those
You're not gonna
excuses,
do that.
right? When the police comes to a criminal, just off a crime, what if he says, I know I killed somebody, but don't judge me?
You're right. Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. So I don't know why the people use the don't judge me card.
Yeah.
Only in Deen.
Subhanallah.
Everything else, it's done for.
Right.
Subhanallah, you know what I mean? So it's like,
And many other examples you could use when somebody goes to Barnes and Nobles to get a book, right? You're looking at the book cover and you're judging the cover, right? Is a criteria for you whether you want the book or not. When you see if you were to flip the script around,
Yeah.
it would be in a situation where that statement would make even people who love to use that uncomfortable.
yeah.
Right? Don't judge, right? So, like for example, a homeless man. As soon as you see him, he's asking for money, you judge that individual to be what? A poor, needy person who needs help, financial assistance,
Of course.
food, right? Sustenance, right? You will never say, or most people wouldn't say, well, you know, the guy probably got a BMW or whatever. I'm not gonna go out of my way and judge him to be what he apparently is, right? We're not gonna do that. So, you know, statements and philosophies like this, it leads one down to a lot of complications in life, and
Yeah.
especially as a Muslim, right? So the best path to follow is what we have, the Prophet ﷺ, and
Yeah.
the statements of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, which are as clear as day. when it comes to this, right?
And the people who abuse or they're too judgmental,
Right.
you know, we advise them to always be kind. And Allah, there's a beautiful hadith with that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves gentleness in all matters.
Absolutely.
And Allah, I think it was يُحِبُّ الرِّفْقَ فِي الْأَمْرِ كُلِّ. That Allah loves gentleness in all matters.
Absolutely.
So even if you're advising somebody, if you're, since we're talking about in the Deen component of judging, because that's what it's really only used, give a good advice, a good word. Don't look down upon somebody. When you're correcting somebody, look at the environment, the scene, see, you know, if that's really the best time, place for a nasiha or an advice. So inshallah, but if somebody does advise you on the other side, be humble.
Yes.
Don't say don't judge me and
take
like all
it.
this stuff.
If it's correct, right, just take it, right? But if they're coming off in the rough way, that doesn't mean that you totally, negate whatever advice they're saying, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Yawm al-Qiyamah is going to ask you, why didn't you take the person's advice? You got to say, because he was mean, because she was mean, and I ain't like, you can't do
That's
that,
not gonna work.
right? But when the person gives you advice, even if they're rough and tough, right? You take the advice for yourself, right? And you try to implement it in which way fits best. But at the same time, you advise them in a nice way, right? Because sometimes these people who come off in a tough way, they have good intentions, right? Likewise, vice versa.
Yeah.
There's good intentions. So inshallah, to soften the hearts, to take the advice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these beautiful ahadith of being nice and gentle with people, right? Just because somebody's rough and tough with you doesn't mean that you need to be rough and tough with them.
Yeah.
Right? And Allah knows best.
Allah knows best. So inshallah we'll leave you with these good words. Take the best of what we have said. And inshallah ta'ala we will inshallah talk soon. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن